All right, so for those that live in the United States, our government just went rogue, and this is a document from the DoD, the Department of Defense, from September 27th, 2024, so just a few weeks ago. It states here, and we're going to get more into this, we've got a few things to look at today, but the U.S. military has basically just authorized the potential to kill U.S. citizens on U.S. soil. So that's actually been against the Constitution because of the Posse Comitatus, hope I'm pronouncing that right, for quite some time now. But let's take a deeper look and a deeper dive at this document. And I'll link this document in the description box below for you guys. But this says that the defense intelligence components may provide personnel to assist in federal department or agency, federal law enforcement agency, or state or local law enforcement agencies when lives are in danger in response to a request for such assistance in accordance with the following approval authorities. Okay, now let's just keep that in mind here because this is going to be important. The DoD responds to chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear, high-yield explosive incidents. Assistance in responding with assets with potential for lethality. In any situation in which it is reasonably foreseeable that providing the requested assistance may involve the use of force that is likely to result in lethal force, including death or serious bodily injury. Okay. Everybody got that? That is why the U.S. government is officially rogue. Okay. And it's important to note that this is just a document. This is not necessarily law just yet, but it does go against the Constitution, which we will talk about here. And it goes against the Posse Comitatus, which we will also talk about. But first, let's take a look at what Ron Paul, who is an ex-government official, has to say about this.
But we want to start off with a headline from Zero Hedge. It's a pretty hot headline. U.S. military now is authorized to kill Americans on U.S. soil. That can't be possible. Yeah. This would open up the door for the careless use, and if more frequent and legal. It'll be legal now, so nobody will have to worry about that. Send in the troops. We need you to shoot a couple of these people. Yeah. They're opposing our policies.
And that's exactly the point. Now they can make any law, and the DoD directive is, well, if they don't follow the law, then we can kill them. Like, hello? Hello. This is really happening. This isn't a video game. I know you think it might be a video game, but it's not a video game. This is for real.
They're demonstrating against COVID rules or something they'll come up with. So I think it's very, very dangerous.
So here it is. Now, Zero Hedge picked it up from Armageddon Pros, which is a Substack which they often run. It says, U.S. military now authorized to kill Americans on U.S. soil. Just ahead, intriguingly, of November elections, and that was my second thought, the military has granted itself permission to unleash lethal force on the civilian population.
See, and this is one of the reasons why, just ahead, intriguingly, on the November elections. Just a few weeks before the elections. I guess technically this was done September 24, or September 27th of 2024. But I'm just finding out about it as of technically yesterday, but I wanted to do more research on this and all that before I make a video on it because I think it's really important. But yeah, I mean, how can you not think that the government doesn't have something dirty planned in store for us?
Again, I thought this has got to be an exaggeration, so I went and looked, and actually go to the next one because this explains what it is. Now, it's not a law. It's a DoD directive. So this is, the administrative state where they take over. They don't pass laws. They are laws unto themselves. Go to the next one if you can, because this is what they're talking about. And I went on and I read this secondly, and it talks about a reissued DoD directive that was reissued just on September 27th, 2024. It governs the Department of Defense intelligence activities and now includes provisions authorizing lethal force in certain circumstances. And it supplants the 2016 version, which did not mention that. So I read all of this too, which is someone else's analysis. I said, okay, this sounds even more troubling. I want to go look at the document itself.
And that's exactly what I did. I mean, I wanted to look at the exact document because I didn't want to miss a beat. I didn't want to skip a beat. I wanted to make sure that this was actually happening. Because when I heard it for the first time, I thought to myself, well, now wait a second. Is that against the Constitution or is it not? And I've said this before and I'll say it again. I don't think the Constitution is even going to be enforceable at this point at the federal level of our United States government. I think the Constitution is more of an ideal than it is a form of government at this point. It's not to say that I disagree with it, but I think that that's just kind of where we're at. And we're going to do more research here and, the Posse Comitatus and why that was enacted, but we'll finish this first.
And so go to the next one. I actually went and looked at the DOD directive. It's DOD Directive 5240.01. Now go to the next one. I'm just going to get to this really quick so I can, just so people, this is on their own website. Now this is Section 3 of that directive, assistance to law enforcement agencies and other civil authorities.
See, and that's what's most dangerous right there. And this is exactly why, this is a good segue then, the Posse Comitatus was created. And it was created by the 19th President of the United States. At least he was the one that was able to get it to its place. Rutherford Hayes. And basically this Posse Comitatus Act, which was enacted in 1878, which was created because the military at the time was just too large because of the Civil War from about a decade or so before. And so they wanted to make sure that they had certain ways of limiting the powers of the military, because otherwise anybody who was like a general or anything like that could use the military and make a coup or even provide some kind of form of tyranny on the people once again because of the size of the military. And so they made it illegal, basically. What this Posse Comitatus Act does is basically makes it illegal to use the military on U.S. citizens on U.S. soil, specifically like lethal force and such. So it's part of the Constitution now, but it's not technically like it's an add-on, right? But the power of the country or the force of the country is what the Posse Comitatus means, okay? And this is exactly why they don't want you to know about this, okay? It's very clear that the government, they're not even hiding this. They're telling you exactly what they're going to do, because that's how spiritual laws work. The devil has to tell you what he's going to do before he does it. And because otherwise there will be karma that comes back onto the devil. But the government clearly does not respect the people. And I think the reason is because it doesn't fear the people. And if you don't fear the people as a government, then the government has full-fledged, can do whatever they want. And this is one of the reasons why strong leaders and strong backbones and understanding that the fear of God comes first. Because when you have the fear of God and you don't have that void of God in your belly, okay, there's a reason the Bible says this, the fear of God is the first step to wisdom, along those lines, right? Well, why does it say that? Because Yahuwah, God, when we have respect and we fear Yahuwah, we also understand that we must respect the will of Yahuwah. Okay, And it's not to say that the people are God or Yahuwah, but we are a part of it. And we have that hole, the God-shaped hole in society for too long. We've had it for too long. And I think that's one of the reasons why the government is so confident in being able to put stuff like this out, while other acts have been in place to specifically stop directives like this. Okay, now let's look at the Constitution here, because I think this is going to be really important as well. So, why is it the case that the First and the Second Amendment are the way that they are? Why is free speech coming before protecting yourself physically? Well, because you can use speech to negotiate. You can use speech as a way to let go of violence. You can use speech as a way to de-escalate violence. But when your free speech is taken, or you cannot speak for yourself and you're forced into a corner, well, then that's where the Second Amendment comes into play. Now let's read the Second Amendment. It says, "A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of the free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed." Okay, now this DOD directive, it explicitly says, in response, where was it? When law enforcement agency, when lives are in danger. Well, anybody that's been in a law class, or anybody that's been in like deductive logic, or trying to understand certain words, or even marketing companies like copywriting, like if you've done copywriting or content writing, you understand that the use of words can be very persuasive, and they can mean a couple different things, right? Like if you have a word, it can, like if you have a phrase or a word specifically in that phrase, you can see it as two or multiple meanings, which is also called a, oh my gosh, why am I forgetting the term? Anyway, it's like, it's when it has two or more meanings. I don't know why. It starts with the D. I don't know why I'm blanking on that word. Yeah, man, that's going to annoy me for a minute. But anyway, the point is that when lives are in danger, that can be fairly ambiguous, because during the pandemic, when lives were in danger, I mean, we thought lives were in danger, but how true was that? I mean, I'm not, all hail Google, right? But but I'm just saying, like, how true was that really? How true was that really? How true was it that we needed to get the, okay, how true was it? So when lives are in danger, it depends on how you view danger. So basically what they're doing right here is giving authorization for the U.S. military to literally kill the U.S. citizens for not following laws that may or may not be created from here on out. Something smells very wrong here. And so what I urge everybody to do, specifically if you have like a family or something, is not to overreact or over-respond or anything right now, but realize that this is happening, and this is why we have our Second Amendment. Okay, this is it right here, because the country has been turned into green-haired, septum-piercing, gender-confused, ideology spattering individuals that don't really know anything, and they just know how to regurgitate information. They've sold their souls for the sake of trying to fit in and be liked. Okay, that's exactly what's happening. And this is one of the reasons why we need to be on our toes. We need to be aware of this kind of stuff, because this is what's going on. They're coming for you. Clearly they are coming. And the best thing that we can do is to stay prepared and realize that we are in the United States, the normal citizen is now considered an enemy. It's pretty much as simple as that. So be prepared, stock up on your food, learn how to garden, get self-sustainable as possible, and keep yourself safe, and be sure to understand the levity of the situation is void. Like the levity's gone here. Now we want to keep a light heart with dealing with this stuff, otherwise it's going to press down and crush us. But there's not a lot of levity to be had in these kinds of situations. This is a lot of heaviness, and this is a lot of real life stuff. This is not quasi-reality. This is not a video game. This is actually real life. And even though life seems like a video game, this is exactly what's going on. So I hope this message was useful and insightful and informative for people out there, specifically in the United States, that are going to be watching this. And peace be with you all. Till next time.